Hi Best Buds, it's Cathy with Cathy's Garden and I'm so happy that you've joined me today. Today we're going to be making these absolutely adorable mini no-sew junk journals, and they're made from little tiny envelopes. Now I have a closure here that's built in. It is baker's twine. I'm going to untie it here and let's open it up. We have a little digital here from Chapter 1 papers. We have some flat back pearls. I have some beautiful papers here. I have looked and looked to see where I purchased these from, and all I have come up with, they are collaged wallpaper. I looked even for about a half an hour on Etsy to try to figure out where they came from. I have covered up my staples here because that's how we're going to secure our papers that are inside. Opening up, we're going to use one of our doilies, and we're even going to use pieces of doilies, as you can see. Now I have decided to make mine into a Valentine's Day theme. You know that's coming up soon. Inside my little pocket here, I have a little sweet Valentine. I have some beautiful pages here. They're lined food dyed pages. There are my staples right there in the center. And then I have another little Valentine's tucked in, and the inside of my envelope has been covered with my paper. I have a little bit of that doily right there for an added little design. I have some lace on the back of my closure, and then you just wrap your little string, ribbon, whatever you choose to use to tie yours closed, and we're just going to give it a little tie. I really like this green one that I'm going to show you next. There's something about that green that's just yummy, and there it looks on the back. Now this one I did a little differently. I put a doily on the back, so you can change them up. You can make them how you would like them to be. Opening this up, look how beautiful that green doily is. And oh, green paper too. I decided to use some butterflies with this one, and I have my Valentine tucked right inside. And then a little bit of journaling papers here, and another little sweet Valentine in my other pocket of my envelope. I truly love how these have turned out, and I think we shall make one together. Don't you think so? I started out with mini envelopes. Can you see they're iridescent? They are the coolest things. I did not know they were iridescent when I ordered them. They are from a company called YAHENDA, Mini Gift Card Mother's Day. And that's what it said on Amazon. And they're iridescent. And they are approximately 2.7 inches by 4 inches. So they're very small. And I I inked around the edges of these two right here, so we could just get going a little further, a little faster. I have some little doilies here. Now these doilies are 3.5 inches. I'm not sure if I want to use the pale pink, or maybe I want to use, I thought I had punched all these out, you guys, but I just noticed on these paper doilies, sometimes you have to take a little bit of time and punch out the, good heavens, where did this one come from? I thought I did all these. The little cutouts, they don't get completely punched out, and you will need to do that. So I've had these for quite some time. I think I don't know if they came from Temu or if they came from Amazon. I have no idea. But they're really sweet. Now I'm going to take a few minutes because I think I want to use the darker one. I think it would show up better for the video. So I'm going to just take a moment and get all these little pieces removed. I'm going to take one of my little doilies here and I'm going to fold it in half so that they match. I can see another one I haven't gotten out yet. Good heavens, you guys. Okay, fold it in half like that, and I'm going to glue it onto my doily like this. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm using my art glitter glue, and I'm just going to approximate where this doily is going to sit on this envelope. Add a little glue and then pop my doily right on. And then just kind of smooth out the glue from the openings of the doily. I'm going to turn it over, and now I'm able to apply the glue more directly onto the doily. This doily has a lot of open spots, so the glue really oozes through. But I just truly love doilies, and since I'm working with a theme of Valentine's Day, I thought that was perfect. Oh my goodness, isn't that beautiful? Now, you do not have to have a Valentine's theme. You can make any theme or no theme at all. That's just completely up to you. Now, what I want to do is I want to have, let me see here. I have to think about how this works. Yeah, I want to have my flap of one of my envelopes. So the flap's here and the fold is right here. So the flaps are like this. So you're going to place them like this, because when this is folded, where the flap folds, you can just barely see the doily out from the edge. And I think that's so very sweet. So wrap this other flap. So we've started like this. Okay, we've started like this. We're going to just push them together. Wrap this around. This is our closure right here. And then this one wraps around the back, and we're going to glue that down. So I'm going to glue this flap onto the back, or maybe I should say the front of this second envelope. Gluing it together, and when I do so, I'm going to pull it away just a little bit, and I mean just a tiny bit. It's not even measurable to me, but can you see it's not completely butted up against each other? And the reason is because when you fold them together, you want it to just really fold very easily, and you don't want it to bind. So that's why you're just going to make a very tiny little space. Yes, space. Now here is a digital, and once again, it is from the only thing I know that my computer says is collaged wallpaper. It's very, very beautiful. And what I want to do is I'm going to cover this area from this fold to the end. And this is what's going to be wrapping around the front for our closure. So this part right here, from here to here, that's going to become our closure, and you're going to see it in the very front. I kind of like this really sweet print of this blue. So I am going to apply my envelope onto my paper like this. I'm going to be adding my glue from this fold to the tip of my envelope, to the flap of the envelope, which will become the closure of our envelope. So just getting it here like this. Okay, and then I'm going to lay it onto my paper. And press it down. Then it will be as simple as trimming it out. And you know how I like things to be pretty simple, you guys. If you're really good and you like to cut your pieces out before, then you most certainly can do that and then put them on after you've cut them out. I, however, need to, I'm not that steady when it comes to cutting a piece out and then trying to make it fit back. It just doesn't ever work out well for me. So I do it this way. I find that it's very easy. Now, before I fold that, you know that I don't like to fold after I've glued my paper in place. I find that it just always messes up for me. So I'm going to dry this, and then, well, actually what we can do before we dry that is we can go ahead and we can add our papers inside, because we're going to do that too. That's almost about the right size. So we're going to also cover this inside of the envelope. I'm going to use this piece, maybe about like that. And I just need to take a little bit more off, maybe here. I want it to fit inside. Not quite yet, almost. Whoopsie. There we go. All right. That will be perfect. Now I'm going to do it unconventional. I'm going to stick my glue in here. I'm going to apply some glue when my paper is already into my envelope, because once again, sometimes I find that once I add my glue to my paper and then I try to stick it back in my envelope, this art glitter glue dries so quickly that sometimes I'm just not quick enough to get it in position before it sets up. And then there you go. You have something that doesn't work out for you because your paper's not inside your envelope before your glue dries. Oh, that's looking gorgeous, isn't it? I love that. Now, I do want to add a little bit right there inside of that little pocket or tuck spot of our envelope. So what I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to trim this out, because you know it's going to have to be smaller than that. But that's going to give me a rough idea of where I need to cut to get my paper to fit into my pocket. And I do need to trim it just a little bit more. And now it's going to fit right in there. I'm going to take a little bit off the edge, and I can see that my cutting is crooked. And so I'm going to bring in my guillotine, and I'm going to see if I can straighten that up just a little bit. And then we're going to pop it right in here, just like this. I'm hoping it will fit right in there. Now, once again, you're going to want it to be down just a little bit from that folded area, because you don't want that paper to bind as you fold your paper. You don't want your envelopes together to make your little journal that we're making. You don't want any binding. So I'm going to pop this in like this. And you don't need to add much glue inside, just enough to keep it from moving on you. And then I'm going to add a little bit of glue here. And then I'm going to see if I can't get this positioned where I want it before it sets up. And there, I think I've done it. Okay, now I'm still going to dry this, because now I've got 2 layers of glue on there, and I want to get that dry before I fold, and we can make our flap and our closure for our little journal. Oh my goodness, it's going to be so cute. All right, so as you can see, I've got my baker's twine. I have some pieces of lace. I have my little dish full of a few little ephemeras, some flat back pearls. I have my ruler here, and I brought in my hot glue gun. Now mine is a Sure Bonder and it's high temp and it has a small little tip. All right, so what I want to do is I want to fold my flap, but I can already see that I might have some issues with it, so I'm going to use my ruler. I'm going to line my point of my opening to my envelope up on my grid line. Then I'm going to place my ruler on top, lining that up, taking my hand, and I'm going to push my flap of my envelope around my ruler. That's just telling my paper, I want you to fold straight. Could we possibly fold straight? Whoa, and I'm just throwing everything around, you guys. I've got my bone folder that I threw on the floor, and I'm going to use it to fold my flap. Now we've got a nice folded flap, and our little extra second envelope will fold nicely into it. And oh my goodness, it's already looking spectacular, isn't it? Now, how can you use these? You can send them out in Happy Mail. They're going to be flat enough. You can pop them into a journal pocket because they're not very big. You could tie them on top of a journal. You could actually use them for a Valentine. That would be really fun. So there are things that you can do with these that I'm sure that I haven't even thought of, that you guys are saying, oh, I think I can do this with it. So I'm going to use my little butterflies and little pieces of ephemera. And my pieces of ephemera are from Chapter 1 papers. Maybe, now they're going to be paper in between, journaling paper in between this and this. So even if our decorations are extremely similar, you can still work with that because there's going to be, you're not going to see these both at the same time. There's going to be something that's going to be in the center. Now I'm going to quickly run my sponge around my little pieces that I have here that I want for decoration. I also think that I might want to bring in another little doily, and maybe we can use it to accent right here. I think it would be really nice to have another edition of our beautiful doily. So this is my second doily that I'm using, and it's the same as the one that we used when we wrapped around the envelope when we began. I got some extra there, and I'm going to trim it out. I'm looking for my scissors. I have a little container. Actually, it's one of those rolling little stackable, has drawers on it, and that's where I keep my scissors. And today I seem to be flinging things in and out of it. I don't know. I guess I don't know my own power today. And maybe, I'm just looking to see, would it be cute to add that extra little piece? Because I don't want to just throw it away, and that would definitely get damaged if I tried to save it, which, I would try to save it. And so let's just use it so we don't have to worry about having it ruined. It's such a little piece that I'm not sure that it would store very well. I guess that's gonna clear that fold. Yeah, I think so. All right, that added a little bit more interest to the insides of our envelopes, and maybe if I pop that there and then maybe pop this one, maybe something like this. Oh, I do like that. Now I kind of add my little layers first, so I'm going to lay this onto here, and then I'm going to pick the whole thing up and I'm going to add my glue, and then I'm going to lay it down as a unit, down like this. Yeah. I'm going to clear the opening of my envelope, and then I was going to use this one right here. Maybe I have it down here like this. I think I like that. So adding my glue onto the wing of my butterfly, and then popping that where I'd like it, maybe about right there, and picking the whole thing up and adding my glue onto the whole piece. Now as a unit, and popping this right down just like this. All right, wonderful. Now I have two little Valentines to the one I love. St. Valentine's greetings. There's no escape when love shoots straight into your heart. Okay, and I'm going to pop that right into my pocket of my envelopes. Wonderful. It's time for our journaling pages, you guys. So what I have here is I have some beautiful food-dyed blue colored line book page. Isn't that gorgeous? That's going to be adorable. I have rounded the corners, and there are 3 pages right here. Now I cut my pages to fit into my envelope, as you can see. So when I attach it, it will easily close up and nothing is sticking out or binding. I've placed them on top of each other, and I'm going to open them up. I'm actually going to use a different stapler. My little tiny stapler I really wanted to use, but it's not deep enough to go inward. This is, what was it? 2.25 inches in, and that little tiny stapler that I've been using and I just love so much, the Tim Holtz, it won't allow me to go in far enough. So that's why I've had to switch to my larger stapler, because it's going to allow me to go all the way in to the middle of the 2 envelopes. That's what you're going to need, a stapler that will allow you to do that. So I've got my pages in here, and I'm just together, I should say, and I'm going to pop them into the middle where I want them. I take my stapler, and I'm going to staple, and then I'm going to staple, and we're stapling in our pages. Now we're going to have our staples poking out. You know, I just do not like that. So I have these 2 little strips of lace, and we're going to glue them on and cover up, kind of like a Band-Aid. Now if you have washi tape, you could do the same thing with washi tape. That will work. If you don't have any lace, or if you want to use washi tape, you can do that. And so I'm going to add my lace just like that, and then turn it over, and I'm going to add my glue onto the other side and go ahead and finish off the gluing down of the strips of lace. So it also adds some interest to the back. Now we're ready for our closure. Now I have found that whatever you're using, whether it's baker's twine like I have here, or whether you're using ribbon or twine or whatever it is, that I found that the easiest way to do this is to go ahead and tie your ribbon lace string around your piece. So, and tie it in a bow the way you want it done. Because I find it really hard to gauge, because this isn't in the middle, and if you just kind of guesstimate and you glue it down, I find that one of the strings is not going to be long enough to do what you want. So I've got mine tied, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it. I'm going to knot the end of my baker's twine just to keep it from unraveling. I'll shorten it up just a little bit, like that. Now I'm sure that I can tie this back together into a bow without much difficulty because I've already done it once, and so it's proportioned, the string is proportioned out. I have a beautiful little piece of ephemera from Chapter 1 papers. I have printed it on cardstock, so it's very firm. You're going to want a firm piece. Now, whether you take your hole punch and you punch it out of a piece of cardboard, a piece of cardstock, whatever, but it needs to be firm. And this isn't very large. This is about 1 inch. Now, this one here is larger. Let's see if I can gauge what, that might be 1 inch. It might even be 1.5 inches. But this is the inch. This is a little larger, but you don't want to go much larger than that. You don't want to cover up too much. You want it to be fairly in proportion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glue. Now you can use whatever glue you want. I'm using hot glue because it's going to enable me to keep going with this video and not have to wait for this to dry. I'm applying my glue, and then I'm placing my little piece on top. I'm going to untie it. Now we've got everything tied up, but I don't like how this looks. I want to finish that off. That's what this little piece is for. So I'm just going to trim enough to cover this, and it's okay if it comes out of the edges because it will make it pretty on the other side. So I'm going to add my glue. So we're securing our tie, our baker's twine. We're securing it all onto our little mini journal here. Now, isn't that sweet with the lace here and the doily and the extra lace? It kind of all ties it together. And then when we close it, look how sweet that is with the lace that comes out from the edge of our little piece of ephemera, or maybe your circle punch. If you used a circle punch, that will be perfect too. Now, if I can get my fingers to cooperate, I'm going to tie this back together is my plan. Oh, did we even look at the pages in here? Did we do that? I'm not sure that we did that. So, isn't that pretty with all the blue? I love that blue. I think that looks fantastic. And you see what I mean? When we decorated this, it's not going to be seen directly up to this one. So this one looks just as beautiful as this one. Goodness gracious. I so enjoy making these mini little journals. Tying it back. There we are. Well, there we go. I need to tie it a little closer, but you get the idea. And look, you can mass make them too. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please give me a thumbs up. I invite you to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video. I'll see you there, guys. Bye now.